Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show. I'm your host, Christine Innes, and I'm so delighted to have the beautiful Katerina to come back and join me. So for those who haven't seen the previous episode of Katerina, make sure you jump over and take a look. She is an incredible soul healer and transformational life coach. She is from Be Your True Self, and I'm really excited to welcome you back. So thank you so much, lovely, for joining me.
Hi, Christine. Thanks for having me back. It's really exciting, isn't it, to be able to talk about our journey and so people can feel much more comfortable in what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I really wanted to come you back because, the big thing is that, we talked about, what topics that we can talk about. And obviously the business journey is something that, a lot of people get a little bit scared to talk about. But, as we talked a little bit before, is that as you sort of transform yourself, your business will start to transform as well. And, really going through that process of, combining the two together as you know more about yourself, more about the different clients you want to work with. And I really think this would be just such a great topic to talk about with everyone today. So thank you again, for, being open to share about your journey. Just so that, as I said, I feel that as we can share our own personal stories, people can start to relate to it and actually sort of find that ease and comfort to know that somebody else has been there before, and that it's all perfectly normal of all the feelings that, you start to feel, and I guess, probably for me, overwhelm was one of the biggest ones. So was there a particular feeling that you sort of felt in your journey?
Well, when I decided to leave the corporate world and start my business, yes, I felt overwhelmed. I even felt I felt afraid because I didn't know what to expect, and you don't know what to expect. It's all unfolding, as you know. Yes, and so I just had to trust myself enough to know that I'll be okay no matter what that is. So fear was there, and feeling overwhelmed because suddenly you are your own boss and you've got to do everything yourself. So yeah.
Yeah. And the fear, I really want to really discuss that because I think it's really important that you brought it up, because sometimes we get scared of fear itself, but it can actually be something that can really help you, propel your business and propel yourself into, obviously uncharted territories. But it also gives you a little bit more drive as well, because you're pushing through that and you start to uncover so much more about yourself. How do you feel about that?
Yes, well, my business journey was really all about finding out who I am as Katerina, as a human being, as a energy worker, as a businesswoman. So there is fear at the base of it all the time, and I feel that overwhelming feeling, or that little bit of fear, also kind of kicks you up the butt and tells you to get up and don't be afraid. Do your Facebook lives and do whatever you need to do to put yourself out there. And at the same time, you learn about your own fears. You learn about your own, how you feel overwhelmed, because it does occur, like that does happen. So yeah, it's just
Yeah.
part of the journey, really.
Yeah. And like you mentioned before about finding out about you yourself, especially as being a business owner, because, coming from corporate, you're in a team, a lot of us work in teams, and, you're
Yeah.
surrounded by other people. But when you step out on your own as a business owner, you are it. And I feel that, there's so much that you really have to uncover about yourselves. And I know that we've spoken about this a lot before. I guess it's not just terminology that you need to learn about going into business, but when you find out about yourself. But what were some of the biggest things that you really found out about yourself in your business journey?
Well, that's a really good question, because what I found out about is my strengths, my vulnerability, and they were just simply about me learning how to be courageous enough to go out there as an individual, first of all, and connect with other people who have already been in business for a long time, and overcoming the fear of, oh, are they going to like me, or are they going to like my product, or are they going to understand what I want to put across? So all of those ingredients helped me to learn more about what I would like to share with the world, what Katerina is all about in regards to energy, for example, because that's what I work with. And so, yes, there are many times where I have to process my own fears of what are other people going to say about me, or what other people are going to think about my product. And so I'm coming into my 4th year. So what I've learnt is that it really doesn't matter what other people say about your product or who you are. It's all about your own integrity of overcoming your fears. And yes, that base fear can be a good thing, because it will get you out of your procrastination, or it'll get you out of feeling doubtful about yourself. It will help you to understand that you have more to give. And that's just an unfolding everyday process as a business owner, and as individually, for your own personal development as well.
I really love that. I think if anyone can take away that, I mean, there's so much in just what you just said, but, being vulnerable it's not easy, because we've walked around so many times with all of these sort of masks and labels, and hid, behind so many different sort of layers. So when you are stepping up as a business owner, it's learning to be vulnerable again. It's learning to know that you will have your own strengths, you will have your own weaknesses, and learning how to, grow and develop with that. But, you were talking about, finding, about you, and knowing that it is okay to be yourself. It's okay that not everybody is going to like you. Not everyone is going to understand you. And I really learnt that a lot, especially, people are going, well, what's a life coach, like all this different sort of stuff. And, you're stepping out of the norm from obviously being in corporate where people can really relate to you, but then, stepping into something that is, I guess wasn't so common back, when you first started as well. So, it is that vulnerability. It is also embracing your fears, but it's also embracing yourself, and really, accepting and loving who you are, and knowing that you want to come from a place of service and want to give back.
Yes. And love for oneself, and being proud of your accomplishments, and creating a journal so you can follow your footsteps as to how and what happened is very important. I feel I do this all the time. It has really helped me to be proud of how far I've come. I mean, the corporate world labels you and puts you in little boxes, and if you don't agree with something, they turn on you and do all these things. Being self-employed, I have found you do that on your own, to yourself. So I had to learn to detach those old patterns of behavior that I had created during my corporate years, and not bring that into my own business, because my vulnerability would stop me from exploring more things about myself if I had kept into those boxes that corporate had successfully put me in. Because that's what happens, isn't it? When you create your own business, you discover the little boxes that you had put yourself into because you had to follow the rules, or you had to listen to what the CEO had to say. And so the vulnerability and the fears is the realization of, oh my gosh, I had myself in this little box all this time, and it was limiting me to progress and become my authentic, or to express my integrity about what I want to do. And you also have to look at your own energy, which I feel is really important, to pull out the cords of limitations and discord, and you know, all those things about yourself. So yeah, vulnerability is a big one, because you don't want to show people that you're having a bad day, for example, right? Or that you're not being successful at something, because everything is about being successful. Well, failure doesn't have to be a bad thing either, because it teaches you, okay, it didn't work this time, so so I'm going to use different steps to create something even bigger and better. Wouldn't you agree? I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, look, I really do love that. And I really think that, you know, as you go into business, that, you know, if you feel like you're not getting somewhere or something's not working out, and, you know, if you want to labor at failure, but it really is just all the lessons that you learn over time. And life is like that. And, you know, we can look at it in two different ways. We can look at it that, oh, well, that didn't work, and, you know, poor me, sit there and have your little pity party. Or you can then step out of that and really learn from those lessons. And I think you would agree that when you go from corporate into your own business, there is so many lessons that you are going to learn along the way, and it's about learning and growing from that to really start embracing it. And you know, you talked about, you know, the limitations of being in corporate. It's sort of like you've been suppressed because you haven't really been able to truly shine and to really express yourself fully, because you have been segmented into those little, you know, compartments. Whereas when you're a
Yeah,
business owner, because it is your business, you're the brand, you're, you know, you're really brought it to life. It's your ability now to really step out and to show every single facet that you have to the world. And I think that, you know, we tend to sometimes deny ourselves of that, opposed to really fully embracing it. Because if you have been in corporate, you have been suppressed in a way, because you haven't been given those opportunities as such to truly shine.
I totally agree, and especially speaking your truth. For me personally, I found that asking questions and speaking my truth was a no-no in corporate, because you're going against the machine as such. So as a business owner, I had to relearn how to speak my truth without the fear of being judged, without the fear of being looked down upon, because I was speaking what I believe to be my truth. And people can take it or leave it, right? If you resonate with it, that's great. If you don't, move along. You know, we don't need to punish each other each time something doesn't work out. So my journey has also been, my business journey has also been about releasing the words such as failure or success or limitations or expansion, and just learning how to be happy with what I'm creating at this time.
Mm.
Because I'm learning right now that when I get out of my own way as a businesswoman and create what I feel the world will benefit from, then I become an expansion of that information or light, and then people will start to magnetize to me. And this is what I'm learning right now. And I must say, you know, you have to look at your vulnerability. You have to face up to your own truths, and sometimes we don't like that. So as a businesswoman, I'm really appreciative and grateful that I took the courage to leave my limitations, because it was a limitation for me, and learn more about myself. So I do encourage you all to jump into your, you know, your rabbit hole of vulnerability, your rabbit hole of fears, and you might actually learn that all those things are just yourself holding you back from being the shiny, being the business person, or the entrepreneur as they call it, to show the world what you are able to offer, because somebody somewhere will need it, and somebody somewhere will hear it. And when you can shift somebody else's perception of themselves in their own business, then you're really making a mark in the world, I feel.
Mm. And have you found that, you know, you talked about, you know, getting out of your own way. And I really want to just sort of talk a little bit about that because, you know, we all have this, well, I say it's the Mingo voice in our heads, you know, it sits there and tells us all the things that we can't do. And, you know, but sometimes you just have to tell them to shut up and just leave me alone and just let me get on with it. But, you know,
Yeah.
getting out of your own way, what has been one of the biggest changes of sort of shifting past that for you as a business owner?
For me, getting out of my own way is teaching me how to trust my process, how to trust my own instincts with my own process of how and what I want to give to the world. And since I've been doing that, I do a lot of mirror work. So if I'm in that space of, you know, that little voice telling you, no, you can't do that. No, somebody's not going to like that and all that stuff. What I do is I just stand in the mirror and say, Katerina, get out of your way, darling. It's okay. You're going to be fine. There's always going to be somebody who's not going to agree with you, and that's okay. But the shift will be that you will find that people will come to you because they will resonate with your vulnerability of being a business owner, because it's not easy. You know, like, this is my truth. I don't care what people say to me about how it's easy and it's going, you know, you're going to have to do this and you're going to have to do that. Well, it's not. Especially if you have to recreate, if you have to learn the tools to be a businesswoman, because I've never been a businesswoman before. I've never had a business before. So my journey was 10 years of learning all about my skills and honing into my skills, and learning all about how I have something to offer, because during that process, I had to look at my vulnerability. So I stayed in my corporate job to give me that, security at the time for me to be able to create what I have now. And be your true self is really me, Katerina, showing the world how to be your true self and not be feared about what other people say and how other people would judge you, because they're only projecting themselves onto you. So keep going, even in times of feeling vulnerable or upset, and you're allowed to be all those things. So that's so my business journey is been about, you know, looking at myself and understanding how I process and how I can be in the world, and what I can give, what I can do.
Yeah, and I love that because it is really, you know, your life lessons that you've learned and how to sort of remove, you know, certain limitations, you know, certain blocks, and, you know, to be able to do that. So one of the things that I really do love what you do. And, you know, as for those who don't know, you know, you and I have known each other for quite a long time, and we've both taken, you know, dramatic steps in our life and, you know, really changed quite a lot. But as you've grown as a businesswoman, it's actually allowing, as I said, all those different facets to really open up. And, you know, we've spoken a lot about being vulnerable, and I really want to impress on people that nobody is perfect. Perfection, for me, perfection doesn't exist, you know, and, you know, we are just all a work in progress. And I want people to really know that, you know, on your business journey and in being in business for yourself, you're going to learn so much more about yourself. You're going to open up a can of worms pretty much every single day, and you're going to go, what have I got myself into, you know, and, you know, learn and grow. And this is why I love talking to people like you, because we're really showing them that it's not as easy as just going, oh, I'm going to start a business today and off I go and everything's going to be all wonderful and perfect and merry and, you know, pocket full of roses. But it is a work in progress every single day. And as you do that, your business is going to evolve, and you're going to evolve with your business as well. And when you get into, I call it like a harmonious state, and I'm not sure if you sort of agree, but when they sort of start to really be in alignment with one another, that's when the magic really starts to happen.
Totally agree. And And I would like to share that, what you said about, you leave your job, you start your business, and all these, all the bling, and, this is going to be how you described it, right? I got to say, that's how I left the corporate world, and that's what I thought. I thought, great, okay, I'm sitting here now. It's all going to fall into place. I'm just going to magically know what to do and how to do it. And oh my gosh, that was a rude shock. Absolutely rude shock. And so did I like the process? Well, no. However, I wouldn't change anything because it has helped me to grow as a person as well. It helped me to see what my values are and how I want to be seen, but by my eyes, not by anybody else's eyes. Right.
Yeah.
There's been tears of frustration and tears of joy, and the aha moment when you've, like I've spent a whole day learning how to bloody do a brochure, and then at the end of the day it happened, and you go, yay, that's a win for the day, right? So, cheer yourself on when you do have a bit of a win, whatever that is. Because
Yeah.
yes, it's not easy, and there's no plan, right? There's no plan, because you can have a plan. Yes, I'm not disregarding plans, but what I'm saying is your plan will change every day. That's why I learn more about my energy, because energy changes all the time. So does my business. So do I. Gosh, so I've taken the fluffiness out of my energy, or out of my sight, so I can be realistic about my business. Like I'm coming into my 4th year, and I'm still learning more about how to do things and what to do. The
I just want to
journey.
go back to what you said, was celebrate the small wins, because I really think that is something that is so underestimated, especially when you're going to business for yourself, because it is those little wins. It is about learning new things, because not only is a whole new different language of being in business for yourself, but there's new technology, there's, new processes and that you've got to learn. So if people can take, a couple of things from it, one of it, celebrate, like literally, like allow yourself that moment, have a bubble bath, pour yourself a glass of champagne, or, get on the phone and tell people about your small wins. Don't wait for the big, huge moments, because it's those little wins that gives you that momentum to keep going, and to fully celebrate. So I would love to know, what have been some of the small wins that you've had along your business journey?
Okay, well, for me, the small wins is, gosh, able to create a brochure. That's a small win for me. Able to do my Facebook Live without being nervous, because that's a practice too, right? Or just feeling accomplished at the end of the day, that, I've created my filing cabinet, and I've created my account system. And because when you start off in my business process was, I didn't have all the money to hire other people to do these things for me. So my win is creating the filing cabinet with my ABCD and my accounts, being able to handle my accounts every month and learn how to create a process to have it all, all in my little drawer. The other win is realizing that I have accomplished something. Just being free of my limitations is a win. Or being happy about looking in the mirror and saying, great job today. Even, being able to speak to somebody and know that whatever your conversation will uplift them, no matter what you're talking about. That's a win, isn't it? I mean, being on your show is a win. I mean,
And I really think, it's so important to celebrate, because, we do wait for the big moments, but it is those little things that were going to happen, because, success doesn't happen overnight. And one of the other things I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is success, because you talked a little bit about, during, saying about your small wins and what you've accomplished. And by looking back at those small wins, I'm in awe of you, because I know how hard you've worked at it, and all the way that you've been able to overcome, so many different obstacles, and, obviously stepping out from corporate, and then obviously being in business for yourself. And, this is alternative as well. So, there's that sort of, bit of woo woo that people are a little bit skeptical about and all of that. So there's still quite a lot, but the transformation that we see within ourselves, I think people need to really celebrate that a lot,
Oh, yes.
because the growth, and that way then you then start to become a leader yourself, and you start becoming a leader within yourself, and you can then start paving the pathway for other people that are coming up from behind you.
Yes, totally agreed. Leading by example. So that's one of my, tick boxes on my list. Leading by example, showing people that it's okay not to have a good day. It's okay to have a great day. It's okay to want to have a rest and not do anything. It's okay to speak your truth without fear. Leading by example shows other, business people that there's going to be the flow of the up and down, right? Leading by example is walking your truth, or walking your talk, because that's really important now. Like, so many people are waking up to the fact that they are more than they are, so they will hear authenticity from other people. So I'm always working at what can I release that doesn't work for me right now, even if it's energy at first, because everything becomes energy. So the little win for me is, at the end of the day, knowing that I've detached a limitation of thought, or a pattern of behavior, or the way I saw myself, and letting it go energetically. And then I learned to manifest it physically. So that would be creating a new program, and knowing that it will help somebody because I did it first. Right? That's a win. Like, be your true self is, I'm the actual product. So whatever I give out, I learn to use it first before I hand it out. So that's a win. I am growing into using different words. So the word win can also put limitations on you because of how we've been brought up to think of that word, right? So now I like to look at myself and think, okay, you did a great job today. And maybe that's a win for me, like, I'm learning to use my words differently. My other win is, gosh, I was in the corporate world, sitting there doing data entry at the same time as doing my job, because I knew my job very well. I was visualizing what I could do to help other people with the skills that I did have. So I used that opportunity to put the earphones on, do my job, but visualize in here, in my heart, how I would like things to happen. So me and my energetic family used that moment to create the vision that I have now.
Yeah.
Right. The reality can be different, of course. Like you said, you don't go into it thinking that everything is going to fall into place, that everything's going to be shiny and bright at first, because it's not. But however, hold on to the vision that you have about how you can be of service to others. And then I've learned to integrate that in my own behavior and the way I speak to people, and my Facebook lives are a testament of that. I use my tools, which are tarot cards or mediumship, whatever it is, but it's all about helping others to feel that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be fearful, but don't let it become toxic, or don't let it become a limitation.
Mm.
So yes, so while you're sitting at your desk right now, whoever is watching, while you're sitting at your desk in the corporate world, you go home, you create your vision boards as to what you want to do and how you want to help people. Hang on to that. Build up on it. Don't allow anybody to tell you that it's not able to manifest, because it can. Just let go of the expectations of what that may be, because that's another source of my own development through my own business, is letting go of expectations, because it can create disappointment. And yes, you're going to be disappointed. Oh gosh, yeah. However, take that disappointment and create something beautiful, and show everybody around you how you can manifest whatever you wish. And would I change the corporate stuff? No, because it taught me how to deal with people. It taught me how to stand on my own ground. It taught me what not to have in my business.
That's I think that's a really interesting point, because obviously, we've both been in corporate, and I looked at it at a fact that when I am now starting to build my team, I look back now and go, well, there might have been people surrounded by me, and I know that their characteristics and, ways that they led in management that I don't want to bring into my business. So I'm using that as a tool now to go, well, that didn't work for me and I don't want to emulate that. So this is the person that I choose to be. This is the business. Again, like, I love visualization. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I think it's one of the most powerful tools that anybody can have. And Bob Proctor says it well. He goes, whatever you can see on the screen of your mind, you can manifest and hold into your hand. And I think that, we forget to allow that creativity. I mean, we encourage our kids, we encourage the younger generations to get out the box of crayons and to draw and to, be creative. And we need to get that back. We need to start being creative. We need to think outside of the box and the limitations that's been put on us, and just allow yourself to dare to dream. I think it's so critical, and, just to give yourself permission. So I'm telling you now, I give you all permission to dream big, think big, massive, don't stop.
No. And ask your questions. It's okay to ask your questions. Gosh, I remember in the corporate world, I used to get told off for asking too many questions. And that was the moment I decided that I didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
And that I felt that I wanted to create a business where somebody was allowed to ask me questions. So when a client sits with me, I encourage them to ask me a question, because then you start creating that rapport or that conversation, and then you'll have that aha moment, knowing that, oh, wow, I didn't know that, right? And feel the tingles and feel the joy, and that's a win, right?
Yeah.
When you're having a conversation with somebody and just suddenly having that aha moment, that's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love everything that you say, because, you really are the true essence of, going through the personal journey, but building your business as well. And, really learning how to grow and develop with all of that as well. So I want to thank you so much for coming on today and really, sharing all of this wisdom with everybody. Is there one piece of advice that you would give to somebody about going on the business journey that they can take away with them today?
Okay, so what I would like to give you is, whatever is occurring, know that within that vision that you hold is the light that will help you to manifest it. So believe in it. Believe in your own dream, regardless of what other people are doing around you. Believe in your dream. Do the work. Learn more about yourself, and you will manifest the dream job that you are thinking about right now.
Yeah. Oh,
Beautiful.
beautiful. I got goosebumps. Like, I love it so, so much. So, I thank you so, so much for coming on again today and, you know, sharing your story, sharing your wisdom. And of course, the dogs are all starting to bark again now. So there's never a right timing. I'm going to put all of the details of how you're going to be able to reach out to Katerina. As I said, she's an incredible soul healer, transformational life coach. So I'm going to put all the links below where you'll be able to reach out with her. Thank you again, lovely, so much for coming on the show and sharing. I want to thank everybody for joining in for this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show. I'm your host, Christine Innes. Remember to click on all the links, how you'll be able to connect with me on social media and join the group, the Corporate Escapists, where you're like surrounded by beautiful, like-minded people who are all ready to live their life full of love, joy, passion, abundance, and flow. So love and light to you all, and we will see you all again next week.